Is lost every day when wrecking balls take down century-old homes and leave behind empty lots. Communities struggle with preserving the past while building for the future.
News 10's Kadlubar takes us to a historical home in Waco that could become the next empty lot.
This is a glimpse of the Sanger Heights area, known for its historic homes, each one filling a page of Waco's rich history. Now in this area, you'll also see some homes like this, falling apart. And while it's run down, it still shares a significant piece of Waco's history, but it might not be a part of Waco's future much longer. Just off Waco Drive, near downtown, sits this abandoned home on 18th Street and Morrow Avenue.
It's almost completely covered with trees and bushes.
You'll notice its broken windows, overgrown landscaping, chipped paint, and "Keep Out" written on every entrance.
Noticed it was crumbling and falling down.
You may also notice some of its historical features.
Those beautiful leaded windows on the 18th side, stunning.
It's a Victorian-era house with asymmetrical architecture and a wraparound porch.
It was just magnificent, what you could see of it.
What you probably don't know is its unique story.
It first shows up in the city directory of 1896 and was built for the proprietor of a drugstore in downtown Waco. Ed Dismuke was his name.
Ed Dismuke actually owned the Provident Drug Company, according to city directories from the late 1800s. And newspapers in Mineral Wells, Texas, east of Fort Worth, credits Dismuke as a city pioneer and founder of its mineral water company.
And it then became the home of Nicholas Hill, who was an early Waco plumber. And so it's an interesting house for me, simply in terms of being the house of middle-class Waco, because historic preservation isn't just about preserving rich people's houses or upper-class houses. It's trying to preserve a broad variety of.
A house more than a century old is now at risk of disappearing.
They were forced to put a demolition certificate on the house.
The city says the owners passed away and left it to their daughter. As the house sat vacant, it started to deteriorate and was subject to several break-ins, causing the city to take the matter into its own hands.
The things that our city code officers have to deal with is if there's a property that is starting to get run down, or in this case, people are breaking into it and kind of trashing it out, and it's really sad.
Public records show that city officials filed multiple nuisance codes without a response from the present owner.
Due to no response, the Building Standards Commission tried to have a hearing. Nobody showed up, as I understand it, to say anything on behalf of the house.
I reached out to the owner, and she was not interested in being interviewed. Meanwhile, the city says it's in a tough spot. It does not want to demolish the house.
But the city of Waco does not want to tear the house down. It's got too much potential history.
The house also has a potential future, but restoring any old home is not for the faint-hearted. Many homes that neighbor 1801 Morrow Avenue were once in bad shape too, including Sharon Gamble's house on Colcord Avenue.
It was all one color and just very abandoned and neglected looking, but so much promise.
She spent the past year restoring the house.
And it needed a lot of work. I knew it would need all new electricity and all new plumbing. The kitchen and bathrooms really the only thing I made major changes to, because we had to take the sheetrock off the wall and the shiplap off the wall to get to the electric and plumbing behind it. And then we rebuilt the bathroom and the kitchen. But everything else is pretty much like it was. It's just refreshed and cleaned and left on.
She also spent the past year embracing her new home's history.
So in 1926, Naomi McCauley lived here with her parents, and she was a Baylor student. She was very, I guess you'd call socialite, for Waco history times.
Gamble's neighbor Rick Allen bought his historic home for a good deal about 30 years ago, and it's been an ongoing restoration project since.
So we were really lucky to get the house for the price we got it for, and have spent 25 years restoring it.
To afford costly maintenance, the couple got creative, transforming their home into a bed and breakfast.
Made money renting rooms in this place for a pittance, but it was making money. And slowly we were able to fix one room at a time up.
So what drives people to buy an historic home and sink thousands into costly repairs, renovations, and maintenance? Hannah Stoles, who lives in a 100-year-old house on Colcord, says the reason is the style.
Archway coming in and stuff. So yeah, so the house actually was one of the reasons that we loved it, was because it still has all the original wood trim, like in its original stain color. None of the trim or wood has been painted.
For others, the reason is the rich history embedded in its foundation.
And I've always loved history. I've always loved old houses. They just don't build them like this anymore. The quality of the work and the product, but the craftsmanship, the details, they don't do this anymore.
And for Alan, he says it's the passion for the project.
A little bit of insanity. But we dreamed of what we could do with this house. So you have to be a dreamer, and then you have to be willing to put money into it and sweat equity.
These homeowners willing to take on the challenge are just some of many who believe old homes are significant in Waco's growing landscape.
Architecture captures the history of a place. And so when you start to lose the historic buildings and some of the older homes and that older feel of a city or a town, it actually starts to shift, I think, the culture in the town as well. Restoring and maintaining and not demolishing older homes definitely, I think, maintains the history, like a lived history where you experience it just by going through the streets.
Passion, history, and style might be what it takes to keep the 1801 Morrow Avenue house standing and keep its history alive.
But the more old houses that get demolished through neglect or by intention, slowly that's changing the city. So I see old houses like that as being a distinctive feature, and that's part of the character of the city of Waco.
Now the city says that there is not a demolition date right now. They're hoping someone steps up to the plate and restores this home. The good news is they have made contact with the daughter, and there is a party interested in taking on the project. If you are interested in possibly taking on this project, you can contact the city of Waco. Reporting in Waco, Kadlubar, KWTX News 10.